Hi, everyone. Long time no see. So I could see some of the names: Margaret, Quinn, Allison, Jennifer, Victor, Sajuri. Oi, Sajuri, como vai? So we're going to be beginning in a few seconds. And just to let you know, this is my last tour in May. And please, everyone, I suggest that you... thank you, Sajuri. I suggest that you join my channel because I'll be talking about this later, but I am going to Europe in 11 days, and I'm going to be at a fantastic street art festival, and I'm going to be doing a HEYGO tour, a few HEYGO tours from there. So I'll tell you more about that later on, and we're going to begin this tour now. Let me see. What you can see behind me is the Australian Embassy, but you can't see too much there. Let me see if you can see the building. There you can. I'm not supposed to be filming the embassy, so I'm just going to show you a little bit there. So we have officially started the tour. Welcome, everybody. I'm Grace from Buenos Aires, and this is a brand new tour that I'm doing for the first time. I'm excited because I've done a lot of investigation here, and we're going to see some beautiful murals by Australian artists. Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone. So this is the thing. The idea on this tour is actually to explore, to look at the art, and to see what happens to us when we see this art. So I'm going to give you a short introduction here to let you know why we are doing this and why these murals are here. Because this is the Australian Embassy in Buenos Aires, which is actually a huge mansion, like many of the embassies here in Buenos Aires that used to be owned by businessmen or by politicians. And in the 1920s, they sold them to the government to be used as embassies. And this was owned by a businessman named Wasserman. Now, in 2020, the embassy called Dean Sunshine, who's a photographer. Hi, Dorley. Hi. So they called Dean Sunshine. He's a photographer who specializes in street art from the 1980s in Australia. And they said, we want you to choose 20 artists and put up their murals, pictures of their murals around the embassy. So he knows many of the artists, and he convinced them that it would be better to do less artists and a few pieces from each artist. And they ended up choosing 4 of the best Australian muralists and putting up their work here. Dean was very impressed and was very honored with this. Actually, in my investigation, what I did was I contacted each of the artists and Dean through Instagram, and I was surprised that Dean responded immediately. And we actually had a conversation, even though we have 13 hours difference. It was my evening and his morning. He was taking his kids to school. So he told me a lot about the artists, about the work, and about this project. So I don't want to take out more time. I just want to flip over the camera so we can start. Wait a second, because I'm using the new app and I am not accustomed to the new app. Right. And I'm also going to try and see something. I'm going to do something. I'm going to see if I can share some pictures with you. So what we have here are photos, huge photos of murals by 4 amazing artists from Australia, 2 women and 2 men. And what I propose here is that we look at them and we see, hi Rhonda, hi, pueden pasar, no hay problema. They're asking, everybody stops when they see me with the camera. So what I propose is that we take a look at what we're seeing, take a look at the mural, and we see what happens to us when we see it, or what do we see there. Usually when we look at art, we feel something, or there are things that we like and things that we don't like. So if you just want to tell me, like, who are the 4 artists? Okay, so first I'm going to tell you who the 4 artists are. Their names are Elle, Lucy, those are the two women, Steve Cross and Roan. If you take a look at the description of the tour, I put in their Instagrams there. And after this tour, I'm going to put in more material in the chat in my channel, because there's a lot more material, especially by one of the artists that we'll see later on, for you to see videos and lots of interesting things. So the first artist her name is Elle. Actually, when they put up these photos in the corner, if you see down there, let me see if I could zoom in there. In the bottom right-hand corner, they put their name and their QR, so you could see their Instagram accounts. So let's take a look at this. What do we see here? Elle is actually from New York, a graffiti artist. She started painting graffitis in New York a long time ago, and then she moved to Australia and became one of Melbourne's most iconic artists. She does these like collage, correct, Tina. She loves to do collage work in the faces, but she says that her murals are like poetry and she likes people to interpret. Now, when I was waiting for them to respond to me. You know, not always everybody answers your Instagram messages. And actually, this morning I got a response from her telling me what this mural is about. What do you think this mural is about? Besides seeing a woman's face in collage format, what else do we see here? And if anybody wants to take a postcard, this is the time to do it. Wait till the person passes by. So here, just speak up if you want to say anything, what you like, what you don't like, what happens to you when you see this. She is actually talking here about climate change. Pain, correct. And the pain has to do with the destruction of the coral reefs. And she is, as we can see, there's an ocean, and she is talking about saving the coral reefs. So you could just take a look at her hands there. I'm going to zoom in to see her face and her hands holding one of these elements from the ocean, and actually the color of those hands. You like the corals resembling brains and inner body parts seen outside as if the artist feels. Yes, wow, that's a great interpretation. Interesting, really. It's like she's spilling everything out. So this is one of her works. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is also by Elle, which is totally different. And we can see here, it's like in the street. And we also have a woman. And we're going to see several women here, painted by the women and by the men. And just take a look at their expressions. See? Now, are these on canvas? Okay, so what we have here are actually photographs, and these are posted on. They have a protection, so they're protected from the rain and the climate, but they are actual photographs, and most of these photographs were done by Dean Sunshine, who's the curator of this work. Hi. Hello. So there's a university right here, Universidad de Belgrano, down on the other right there. And this is a very residential and wealthy neighborhood. So here we have another one. And let me check if I'm going to try something and see if I could post an image here. This one. How do I get back? Can you guys see the image? I don't know. I'm trying this out because I know that on this app we can see. Okay, so you want me to go on the edge? I don't know what for the postcard. This is actually how we can see. This is the whole mural. See? And what I could do is go closer in because I'm walking on the sidewalk so we could see this closer. And we can see here vegetation and the birds and somebody walking down the street. So I'm going to go by to the next mural, who's by another artist, who is Steve Cross. Now, Steve Cross is he was part of the Everfresh group, which was a group of muralists in the year 2000 who worked together, and he works a lot with nature. Now, what do we see here? Because I think there's something interesting. Let me know what would be interesting about this mural besides the fact of the beautiful animals that we see. We have that bird that is painted on the top, and he left the bird on the top there with the background of the original building without painting, leaving all the cracks in there. So let's take a look at this closer in. And there is a turtle riding on her back. So if anybody wants to take a postcard of that. So Steve Cross is actually a tattoo artist. Many, as you may know, or maybe not know, many tattoo artists are muralists. Street art is very much connected to street art is very much connected to graffitis and to tattoos. There's many tattoo artists who do this. Now, what Steve does is he has been painting for over 30 years. He's one of the best. That's what the artists that are chosen here by Dean Sunshine are four of the most renowned artists in the Melbourne scene. And Steve does lots of portraits. If you go into his Instagram, as I mentioned, I posted on the description of the tour, but here you have it again. It's Mr. Steve Cross. You will see lots of drawings of women or people, portraits in pencil. And he has about more than 20 books that he has made with these pencil drawings that he's collecting. Now, oh, you want the picture with not much around the edge? This one, let me see. Oh, pasa, no hay problema. Okay, so this is as close I can get without much around the edge. Let me know, Tina, if you can get that picture, that postcard. Yeah, if not, you can crop it. But there we go. Now, here we have a very interesting story. And this artist, pasa, no hay problema. This artist, please take a look at this and breathe deep and tell me what you see here. What you see here, because this is I investigated this artist. His name is RONE, R-O-N-E. Pueden pasar. His name is RONE, and he has been painting. Yes, he paints women's portraits, women's faces for a long time. And once he was painting these huge murals, and he decided to go into an abandoned house and paint a mural in the abandoned house. So this mural was painted inside an abandoned house, and it's part of a series called Empty. And after this, he was inspired to paint in abandoned places, seeing how when we go into an abandoned place and there is no life there anymore, sadness appears. And painting somebody's face in there, it sort of like brings life back to it. And he also says that, I'm sorry, Tina, I can't see it. Oh, so these are photos. Yes, these are photos. I explained that in the very beginning. They're photos because the embassy called upon Dean Sunshine to create this exhibition of Australian street art, and they are all photos. So this one is from the series Empty, and if you go into his, I'm going to post in my channel his website so you can see all of the work he has done in abandoned places, and it's very interesting to see. Yeah, well, it could be all of those three, Dorley. I mean, she's like looking and despair, hope, sorrow. It's a little of everything. And what he says is what he has discovered painting in these abandoned places is that when you go to an abandoned place, what is left there tells us the story of what used to be there before. Now, no, they're photos of street murals. These are all in the streets. Now, here we have another one by Elle, which was the first artist, the first woman artist we saw, as I mentioned. Elle actually, let me try again if this works, post an image. Let me see if I can, let me see something here. Okay, so, okay, great. So first of all, I posted an image of Elle. This image is in her Instagram, and she says that her images reflect, are like poems, and she asks the people to see it to see what they think she's trying to express with that. And this other image is also, since she was stuck in New York during the pandemic, I don't know how many of you know who Ruth Bader Ginsburg was. She was the second woman to be a judge in the Supreme Court in the United States, and she fought so much for social justice and for women's rights. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Elle painted a mural in her hometown in the Lower East Side of New York. Yes, I saw a film about her. She's a very interesting woman. She passed away last year, and she was very much loved by many, many people in the United States. So she was commissioned to do this huge mural in New York. So I'm glad the postcard, the pictures appeared. So let's take a look at this. What do you think? What's happening here? Where is she looking? What is she? And we could even see also something that has to do with the seas and the oceans, right, on the bottom part. So this is Elle, and I really recommend you go into her Instagram to check out more of her work. And here we're going to see something that is not, thank you, Jennifer, that is not a mural, but let's take a look at what this says. Albert Einstein, 1879 to 1955. Vivió en esta casa durante su visita a la Argentina. He lived in this house when he visited Argentina from March 25th to April 23rd, 1925. Yes, all of these murals, Tina, are in Melbourne. And this is, I just want to tell you about this. So while I was investigating about the murals, I also investigated about this. So what happened? Albert Einstein was here for a month in 1925. He was invited here, and he gave lectures. He met with scientists, and he met with many people. Usually at that time, they wouldn't take famous people to hotels. They would take them to residence, to these huge mansions. And so he stayed at this mansion, and for 1 month he was living here. And in 2005, they decided to put this plaque up in as a tribute to Albert Einstein and his stay here in Buenos Aires. So that's the plaque telling us that Albert Einstein was here. And just to check a little of the neighborhood, this is a very important private university here in Belgrano. We are in the neighborhood of Belgrano, which is sort of a northern part, very residential. Look at that. This is Belgrano, Universidad de Belgrano. And here's another project of a building. Hola, ¿qué tal? So here I'm going to show you another one of Rone's project. This is Rone. I mentioned him before. He did the one that's called Empty. And this is another series called Empire. And I just have to tell you about this. You have to go into his website to see a video. But take a look at this. And I'm going to post an image here so you can see. This is a house. No, pasen. No hay problema. This is a house that's in. Let me see if I could find the image. So this house. I'm not sure if this is the one. Yes, no, this is the one. And here are some more images. Okay. The last image you see is a house that's in the middle of a forest. It's in the outskirts of Melbourne. So what he did, this house is an Art Deco mansion from the 1930s that later became a hotel and in the 90s was abandoned. He created an installation in this house where he painted these murals of this woman. She's the face of an actress. Lily, I can't remember her last name. Lily Sullivan, I think, is her name. And they created an installation where they put in this house, besides the murals, they put more than 500 antique pieces. They decorated it. They turned it into a place where thousands of tourists would enter this house. There you see the picture of the house in the chat. And it is amazing what he has done there. This project is called Empire. And just take a look at the detail of how they created the scenery here, the mural he painted. It's a 14-room mansion. And I think Rone is absolutely amazing. I'm astonished by what he did, and I will put the link in my channel later so you can see more of his work. Tell me if you want a postcard of the previous one or of this. So here we have another artist, and her name is Lucy Lucy. Lucy is she is a French artist, but she lives in Melbourne. For a long time she's been living there, and she is also one of Australia's most important street artists. Now she focuses. You want the originals? Well, you'll have to go to Melbourne. I don't think you'll be able to get the originals, but you can go to Melbourne and take photos of it. But this is the closest we can get. So let me see if I could post this image, because she sent me a message and I took a screenshot of that. So let me see if this is the message that she sent me. Yes. If anybody could read that, it tells us about what she paints about. Actually, she likes to dive into the feminine world, the feminine psyche, and see what women are feeling, are thinking. And she does different types of work. She's also a photographer. She's also does live painting at events. Press photos to enlarge. I don't know if you're talking to me or you're talking to... I don't know, Dorley, if that was for me. But let's take a look at her face. And what do we see here? What do we feel here? What is she telling us? If you go... Oh, if you press on the photos. Okay, great. So, Lucy is an amazing artist, and she has lately been doing what they call NFTs, which are digital works. It's digital art, and she animates the images. So, you would see this this blue like ring moving and moving around her. Yes, she's deep in thought. What else? Well, I'll just leave that there for you while we go on to the next one by Lucy Lucy, which is totally different, but it also is quite expressive. And tell me, so this is also Lucy Lucy, and we also see a face that can express something totally different. She's also into fashion, and she's very elaborate with her colors, with her color scheme. So if you want to take a postcard before I move on to the next one, what do you think she's thinking? Fleeting thoughts. Like, sort of like all of that that's going around her head. Stoned. Yes, she could be stoned. Right, and we've got the little pills running, floating around, right? Could be listening to music, and those white those white lines could be music. That the music. Sí, sí, pueden pasar. Stream of consciousness. Wow, lots of things are coming, are appearing. So what I'm going to do is going to pass on to the next one. So because we have 4 more murals, and then if you want to, those who can stay, we can go back. All right. So this is another one from the mansion I mentioned. Another one by RONE. That's from the Empire series, and take a look at all of the details. And here we even can see through that door the other image. I can go into there and we can see that there's somebody else painted on the other. So this is part of his series. Thousands of people have visited this installation, and I mean, it just blew my mind when I saw it. I'm going to send you the link to the video so you could see, and you could do a visit to the place. So, Sol! Is that my friend Sol, who is in Norway now? So this is just amazing. This is another one by RONE. Hola, Sol! Hi! So, just so you know, Sol studied tourism with me. We studied together, and we created our first street art tour together here in Argentina. Can you show the house through the fence? The house. Oh, you want to see the embassy in the back, right? I'm not supposed to be showing you that because we're not. But there I'm supposedly showing the murals, because when I came to talk to the security guy here, I told him, listen, I'm going to be doing a virtual tour here. I know that the embassies are a little, they don't like you filming, so I just want you to know that I'm doing a virtual tour showing murals. And he said, yes, that's fine, because that's what those murals are here for. They want people to see them. So he says the only thing is that the embassy, for security reasons, they don't like you filming the embassy. So I just give you a little snapshot of that. So this is where Albert Einstein stayed in 1925. He stayed here for a month on his visit to Buenos Aires. Correct, Tina. Now, here's another one. So who do you think did this one? Elle or Lucy Lucy? Quick quiz. This is by Elle or by Lucy Lucy? If you take a look at the style, maybe you can tell me. Who do you think did this one? Yes, as I mentioned before, Tina, at that time they didn't take important people to hotels. They invited them to stay at mansions. So this was the mansion, the Wasserman Mansion. Not Elle. If it's not Elle, why is it not Elle? because it's just you realize her style, right? So yes, this is Lucy Lucy, right? So let's take a look. What do you think is happening here? We have those little like pill-shaped things, right? Yes, like with the, I don't know. For me, they're like pills. I don't know if they're like worms. But let's just look. If you want to take a postcard of that, that's a really nice postcard, I think. Yes, I think we can interpret different things here. Besides, she's sort of like dressed in a special way, or she comes, pueden pasar, she comes from a different culture because of her hair and that thing she has on her neck. And then, as we could see, this is actually on the street in Melbourne. And this is by Lucy Lucy. So I'm going to go to the two of the last murals. This one you've seen it because it's on the cover of my tour, and this is by Steve Cross. And this one was done. Let me see if I could get that image here. And here you could check and see what he wrote. This is actually, this is a post on his Instagram. And I believe this one was from 2016. We can see on the corner that the ladder is there, so it was probably when he had just finished it. Oh, yes, correct. In the other ones, in the other mural doorly, they were black. So here we can, and I'm going to pass on to the next one, just so you can see if anybody wants to take a postcard here. And what is she thinking? What is she looking at? What's happening to her? Thank you, Sajuri. Thank you so much. So please follow me on Instagram and follow my channel because I'm going to tell you a little more about the festival I'm going to be going to in June. And this is the final mural, also by Steve Cross. And take a look at the difference between this one and the other one. Daydreaming, yes, she looks like she was daydreaming. And what about this one? Here we can clearly see it's on the street. There's even a graffiti up top, on top. There's another person there on the side. And what's happening to her? What's happening to this person? What do we think? And look at the completely different color scheme he uses also. On drugs. You think she's on drugs? Could be. Everything's possible. Yeah. Could be abused as well. Right. Sadness, heartbroken. Wow. Escaping harm. Yes, I can zoom in. I can go. Let's take a look at her. Look at her eyes. And the expression on her face. All of those things you mentioned could be, all of those. Abused, tired, sad, wow, empty. Wow. So, we are approaching the end of the tour. What I do want to tell you, she broke up with her man. Could be. He left her. That could be also. So there we can see tell me please. Well, there's lots of things I can't, she's black and white while the background is colorful. Right. That's true. So let me know if you want me to. I'm going to go back to I'm going to show you now, just walking down all of the murals that we've seen. What I'm going to do is this. Or I can't walk backwards, right? So I'm going to turn the camera around so I can show you all of the murals before ending the tour. And I have a message for you all. So, thank you, Sue. So, please check my channel. I'm going to give you more information on these different murals. Check their Instagrams. And I'm going to send you the websites as well of the artists. So you can do more investigation like I have and see some amazing things. This is, as I mentioned, the neighborhood of Belgrano. And here we have, for those of you who arrived later, these are the first murals that I showed. Thank you, Pauline. Thanks, Sol. Gracias. So I'm going to tell you now what I'm doing in June. Surprise, surprise. Stay tuned. Okay, and this is the very first mural by Elle. Those who arrived late didn't see it, but it's a beautiful mural where she talks about climate change and protecting the coral reefs. Okay? So, thank you, Karine. Thank you, Dorley. So, listen up. This is my last tour for this month, and I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to Europe, to different places. I'm going to do the Santiago way, and I'm going to be in Morocco. And then I'm going to spend 12 days at an amazing street art festival in Grenoble, France. Je ne parle pas. I don't speak much French, but I am going to be volunteering there. So in my volunteer work, there will be many different things I'll be doing, but they have honored me with allowing me to tour some of the murals at the Grenoble Street Art Fest. I'm going to send you the link of the festival also, and probably, I haven't put up the dates yet, but that's why you should check my channel. If somebody could put my channel in there, it's Tour with Grace. And I'm going to be doing at least 2 HEYGO tours at the Grenoble Fest, virtual tours, besides doing the tours live there. And I'm going to be doing some surprise tours probably, so maybe I'll just show you a little bit of Grenoble, a little bit of different things at the festival. But basically, I will be showing you these huge, there'll be more than 40 artists there from all around the world. And so I'm going to be doing a live transmission for HEYGO. I'm going to be doing one, probably a few in English, and I'm going to be doing one in Spanish for my friends from Argentina and from other Spanish-speaking countries. So, je ne connais pas Grenoble, so I've only been to Paris, and I really don't speak, I speak un peu de français, but I'm studying up a little bit. Thank you, Sajuri. And j'étudie un peu de français, mais je sais pas beaucoup, so I have to practice a little my French, but I'll be working there with 150 volunteers. So there will be 150 volunteers at that festival, and I'm going to be one of them. I'm so happy to be there, so I'll be there I'll be there working there 12 days at the end of June, and probably around the 16th, 17th of June, on the 18th, I'll be doing the Spanish tour, and the other days, I'll be great, Tariq, so I could take you as my translator, actually. So I'll be doing tours live there in English and Spanish for the people who visit the festival, and then I'll be doing some tours for all of you for HEYGO. So I'm preparing my trip now. I'm going to be leaving next Monday. Next Monday, I'll be leaving for Europe. And so stay tuned to my channel to find out more, okay? So with the mural in the background, Elle's mural in the background, I'm going to say thank you, Rhonda. Thanks, everyone. My Instagram was posted in the chat. I think Sayuri put it up there. My Instagram is A Tour with Grace. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, send me a message. If you have any questions, just let me know. And thank you so much for coming. There it is again. Thanks, Sayuri. I say Sayuri because that's our translation. That's our pronunciation here in Argentina. But I think it's Sayuri. So follow Sayuri as well. Sayuri, put on your link to your channel, please. Put yours there because Sayuri has amazing tours in Salvador de Bahia in Brazil, which is my favorite country to go for vacation. I don't go to the beaches here. Our seas are very cold, so I go to Brazil. And follow Sayuri on her tours because she does lots of tours that are sunset, women, Black history, everything. So, see you all soon, and thank you so much for joining. Bye-bye.